there, friends. Jackie Kirchner here. I am a fellow runner and a registered dietitian, and I specialize in helping runners fuel their bodies better so that they can run faster. Today on the channel, we are talking all about energy gels. We've got all kinds here, and I am excited to talk about them and explain them to you. So what are these things anyway? So basically they are just concentrated sources of simple carbohydrates that we can use to give us energy during a run. So many of them have additional ingredients like caffeine. This one has 25 milligrams of caffeine. There's usually some electrolytes like sodium. Basically, they are like a sports drink that's been concentrated and condensed into a small package that you use when you're running to give you energy. So why should you take something like a gel? Well, remember that running takes a lot of energy, right? And our bodies like to use carbohydrates as energy when we're running. Now, we can store some carbohydrates in our muscles and our liver, and the way that we store carbohydrates is something called glycogen. So I think of glycogen as long strands of carbohydrates or simple sugars that are just strung together and we store it. So we store carbohydrates as glycogen in our muscles and our liver, but we can't store unlimited amounts. Most of us are going to use up our stored glycogen after about 90 minutes of activity, maybe 120 minutes, like 2 hours. After our glycogen stores are gone, then we're going to find that our pace slows down, our effort increases, and it's so much harder or even impossible to keep going at that intensity that we were before. So that's kind of like hitting the wall or bonking. So the reason we take gels is because it gives us simple carbohydrates which we can break down pretty fast and digest and get from our guts into our bloodstream and into our muscles, where we can use that carbohydrate as energy to keep us going. So one thing I want to note is that yes, we can use other macronutrients. So our macronutrients, by the way, are protein, carbohydrates, and fats. We can use other macronutrients as fuel when we're running, but our bodies like to use carbohydrates because it's efficient. Fat takes a lot longer to convert into energy. That conversion rate is much slower. So if you rely just on fat when you are running, you are probably going to end up depleting your glycogen stores and hitting the wall. Also, protein isn't really something that you want to be using as energy on the run. The reason is the way we store our protein is in our muscles, and you don't want to break down your muscle. You want to maintain your muscle mass and maintain your strength. So our bodies really just prefer to use carbohydrates, and giving it some extra carbohydrates will make sure that you never hit empty. I also want to note that the faster that you're running or the harder that you're working, the more carbohydrates that you're burning and less fat. So something to keep in mind, especially if you are going to be exercising or racing at an intense pace. A lot of people will ask me when they should start taking gels or when they need to be taking them in general. So in order to figure that out, I think we need to have a couple of important pieces of information. If you are going to be running for over 90 minutes, then you need to consume at least 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates per hour. That can even go up to 90 grams per hour if you have trained your gut and if you're out there for over, say, 2.5, 3 hours or more. Well, most gels are around 22 to 25 grams of carbohydrates per packet. This Humid gel is 22 grams. For example, this Morton that I have right here is 25 grams. So if you are aiming for that 30 to 60 grams per hour, you're going to need usually about 2 or 3 of these per hour, especially 3 if you're going for that 60 to 90 gram range. So that is going to end up equaling out about a gel every 20 or 30 minutes. Now, if you're also taking something like a sports drink like Tailwind or Gatorade or Scratch, then you might not need it as often because those are also going to provide some carbohydrates. So it is individual, but if this is your sole source of carbohydrates, you're looking at a minimum of 2 per hour. So I have to say, 2 to 3 gels per hour is a lot more than what most people out there are used to taking. And you might think, wow, that's crazy. Like, how can I possibly take that many gels? And I want to say it is possible, and many people have done it, but you do need to practice. Do not wait till race day. Please, 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 I beg you, don't wait till race day to practice this strategy. Make sure you're going out there on your long runs and treating those almost like a dress rehearsal for race day, and you're practicing. You can train your gut to get used to these. If you're not used to having that much, start with half of a packet every half hour or half a pack every 20 minutes and work your way up. So when you are taking gels, make sure that you start earlier rather than later. Don't wait until that 90-minute mark when your glycogen stores are completely depleted. You want to make sure that you get going starting on these right away so that your body always has some source of energy and some source of carbohydrate, so you never get to that point where you hit the wall, which is really hard to come back from. There's so many different kinds of gels out there on the market, and I do kind of want to point out different kinds. So there's your typical energy gel. So GU is pretty much universally known. This is a pretty standard energy gel. It's pretty compact. This particular packet has 23 grams of carbohydrates, and it is strawberry banana flavored. This is an energy gel. This is something you definitely need to take with water. Now, there are other gels on the market that we call isotonic. So they are essentially already pre-mixed with water. This is also made by GU, and it is also strawberry banana flavored. It is backwards. But this pack of GU, you can see the size difference between the two. Quite a bit different, but they're both having approximately the same amount of carbohydrates, the exact same. I'm sorry, this one also has 23 grams of carbohydrates, but this one's pre-mixed with water, so you don't have to take it with water. A benefit of this is that if you are on a race course, you don't have to time taking your gel with an upcoming water stop, for example. So there are these types of more isotonic or essentially premixed gels out there, but you can see the size difference. If you have to carry, say, 6 or 7 of them on a race, like this is potentially more challenging to bring 7 of them with you versus the smaller packet. Another thing people want to ask me all the time is which energy gel is the best? And I honestly don't have a great answer for you because it's really a lot of personal preference. There are so many things to consider, which is why there are so many different options out there. I mean, the consistency between different gels is a lot different. Like GU is way different than Huma, for example. This is really sticky, and this is a little bit more liquidy and smooth. There's tons of different flavors out there. Some of them have caffeine, some of them don't. Some of them have more sodium and more electrolytes, and some of them have just kind of minimal. Some of the packet sizes are different. Again, if you compare the different GUs here, you can see that that's very different. Some people really like little details like this Cliff Shot has like a litter leash, they call it. So when you tear off the top, if you do it the right way, the top doesn't fall off into the ground and lead to littering. So I think that's pretty cool. But their cost is different between different brands. So there's tons of different things and factors at play. Another big thing is ingredients. Like your standard GU is going to be made with different types of carbohydrates or simple sugars, maltodextrin, water, fructose. Huma, for example, for this flavor, the first ingredient is strawberry puree. They also have some sugar, brown rice syrup, and powdered chia seeds. So this is a lot different ingredient-wise than they goo. Then there's other options out there like this, which is just literally maple syrup. Like, that is the ingredient, maple syrup. Then Morton is a different sort of consistency and, again, just like simple carbohydrates, but don't have to take it with water. So there's lots of different things. It is definitely worth it to take the time to buy several different brands and buy several different flavors to find out what works for you. And just because one brand or one flavor didn't work for you doesn't mean that there isn't one out there for you that will work. I mean, with the hundreds of kinds out there, I would be completely surprised that there would be zero that work for you, especially if you take them correctly. I know that when I first tried a gel, I was like, ooh, these are kind of gross and I don't really want to take them. And now I found some that work for me and that I actually kind of enjoy. So take the time to figure it out. It is worth it. If you know that strawberry sounds disgusting, like, don't buy strawberry flavor. But who am I to say that Kuma strawberry is the absolute best for everyone in the world? It could be the best for some of you, and I think that's awesome, and it could be not the best for some of you, and that's fine too. So finally, do you have to take gels? And I'm here to say, like, technically, no, you don't have to do anything. Like, you don't have to run, you don't have to take a gel, you don't have to drink water, but there are lots of benefits to doing so, and you're probably going to feel a lot better if you do take gels and you do take them correctly. So if you take them with water and you take them consistently and you don't wait until it's too late, then you are going to have a much better experience than if you do none of those things. There's so many benefits to them. I mean, they're small, they're easy to carry, they're usually really easy to take while you're running. They're pretty easy and convenient way to get in carbohydrates. I mean, they're pre-packaged, so you don't have to go measure out like crackers or pretzels or bring like 5 bananas with you on a run. So, I mean, they're very convenient. They're usually fairly cost effective, especially if you can buy a case of them. But they're not for everyone. I mean, some people prefer sports drinks. Some people prefer sports chews or beans. Some people prefer real food, and that's totally fine. That's up to you. All right, everyone, so let me know in the comments any of your thoughts or questions or comments about energy gels, if I've answered all of your questions, if you have a favorite flavor, if you have any suggestions for future videos on gels. I think it might be kind of fun to do like a taste test between all these different flavors that I've shown here. I had lots of strawberry ones from different brands and they're all different consistencies, so that might be kind of fun. So drop your comments, your questions below. I'm happy to answer them, and let me know what you think. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I have lots more videos to come. It's going to continue to grow and I'm really excited about it. Hit the notification bell, all that fun stuff. Comments below. You can find me on my website, www.JackieKirchnerNutrition. You can also find me on Instagram. I am at fuelbetter.runfaster, and there you can find a link to sign up for a free strategy session with me if you need help with gels or any other part of your running, fueling, and nutrition strategy. Bye!